Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize and extend my appreciation to all of our first responders, our police department, our fire department, our EMS. I was going to ask you to give them applause in just a second because I wanted to say what they did, but obviously we had a very serious weather event, and we're stuck in our homes, and I've got folks complaining, when's the natatorium going to be open? When's the senior center going to be open? All this stuff. These guys are out there every day, men and women that are driving the streets and putting their own lives at risk, not only to help us, but just to get to work. So again, to our police department, our fire department, our EMS drivers, thank you. And now we can give another round of applause. So we still have some folks coming in, so that's okay. We have seats up front. It's like being late to church. And I also want to recognize, I left one out, I want to recognize our staff because they also made the sacrifice to come in when they could, and then also had to work some limited hours. So really appreciate the job that they did. Our city manager did an excellent job staying in touch with me, and I think some of the other council members to let us know what the condition of the city was. So again, thank you to staff for that. All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening to our State of the City, and it gives me great pleasure to say that the state of the city in Farmers Branch is strong and the future is brighter than ever. So in case you don't know, I'm Mayor Terry Lynn, and I'm joined here tonight with Mayor Pro Tem Tina Bennett Burton, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Roger Neal, Councilman Dave Reed, and Councilwoman Elizabeth Villafranca. And as long as I'm thanking folks, I'll get all the thank yous out of the way. I want to thank them too, because being a city council person is not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of study and preparation, a lot of reading. It takes time away from your family. It takes time away from your work. And it's a sacrifice. And so these folks have been serving the city extremely well and been very generous of giving of their time to represent all of us. And so thank you all for your service. We do have something special here in Farmers Branch. We have the convenience and innovation that you'd expect from a really big city, but yet I don't think we've ever really lost the hometown feel, the small city feel, and it enables us to come together unlike a lot of cities around here. And the services that the city provides, second to none, because you wouldn't get some of the things that we do for residents in many of the surrounding cities. So I really feel very fortunate that I'm here in Farmers Branch, and I think many of you all do too. We see it every day. We've got 31 parks in our city, which make this an exciting place to live. We provide a lot of amenities for our residents, and whether it's the newly renovated Branch Connection or the historical park where families can come together, or Hoya Park where folks come together. Community plays a deep part in the values of our city and what makes Farmers Branch special. So Tonight, I'm really excited to reflect on 2025 for a little bit. We put together a short video that highlights some of the milestones and achievements that we've made this past year, and then we'll talk about what's going on in the city in a little more detail. So if you could, let's turn our attention to the screen. Turn down the lights, yep, and we'll just watch a short video.
"2025 was a year of focus, resilience, and real progress for Farmers Branch. This was a year defined by action, where the goals of our strategic plan translated into measurable improvements for the people who live, work, and invest in our community. Every major initiative of the past year centered on one purpose: delivering meaningful results for our residents. Our strategic planning process begins and ends with community priorities. Every dollar the city spends is tied to the City Council's 6 focus areas: a strong and diverse economy, connected neighborhoods, public safety, high performance, sustainability, and world-class customer service. Farmers Branch continues to position itself as a thriving hub of innovation and investment. In 2025, we secured one of the most significant economic development wins in our city's history: a major corporate relocation that will bring millions in future investment and strengthen our long-term economic vitality. We also focused on supporting the companies already rooted here. Our business community is thriving, including Mustang Station, which is now fully occupied and more active than ever. We were proud to welcome the Pickleball Championship for the 3rd year in a row, an event that brought more than 60,200 visitors to Farmers Branch and further established our city as a regional destination. This year, we made meaningful investments in the places residents call home. Through the Replacement Housing Program, the city secured $2.5 million in federal funding from Dallas County to support housing enhancements in the Valwood Park neighborhood. June 10th marked the grand reopening of the Branch Connection, our newly renovated modern center for adults 50 and better, a welcoming space to learn, connect, and stay active. We continued expanding opportunities for recreation and connectivity across the city. The Dutch Village Playground introduced next-generation amenities for our youngest residents. The Rawhide Trail expansion added a 12-foot wide pathway and 40 new solar lights, creating a safe and enjoyable environment for walking, biking, and community activity. Our commitment to public safety remains unwavering. In 2025, the Farmers Branch Police Department achieved a 20% reduction in crime, a significant milestone, supported by the addition of 5 new patrol officers. The fire department continued to lead in emergency response, fire prevention, and public safety education. Firefighters and paramedics delivered high-quality emergency medical services and rescue support 24/7, ensuring our community remains protected at all times. Farmers Branch again earned dual AAA bond ratings from Fitch Ratings and S&P, placing us among the most financially stable cities in the state. These ratings help secure lower borrowing costs and maintain long-term financial flexibility. The fiscal year 2025 and 26 budget was adopted with no tax rate increase, while still maintaining strong reserves and investing in essential services. This reflects our commitment to disciplined financial management and putting residents first. In 2025, the city invested more than $20.6 million in capital improvement projects to strengthen our streets, parks, facilities, and utilities. This included $7 million dedicated to improving the reliability of our water systems. Major work along Valley View Lane addressed long-standing stormwater needs, installing a new underground drainage system to reduce flooding and protect surrounding homes and businesses. The city also replaced aging water mains and clay wastewater lines with new, durable infrastructure, ensuring dependable service for years to come. And thanks to a generous $1.5 million philanthropic partnership, the city will expand the Animal Adoption Center with a state-of-the-art cat facility. As we move into 2026, the city will continue the momentum that defined this past year. Guided by our strategic plan, we will keep strengthening our economy, supporting our neighborhoods, investing in public safety, and delivering world-class service to our residents. Together, we are writing the next chapter of the Farmers Branch story, a story built on trust, transparency, and transformation. City of Farmers Branch, building the future together.
Well, you know, I had not seen that video, and it just said everything that I was going to say. So I guess we can pretty much call it a night. No, there's a lot happening in Farmers Branch. You know, if we were a boxer, I'll put this in, I like to put things in terms that I can understand, but if we were a boxer, our city would probably be a lightweight boxer. But we're boxing in the heavyweight class, and we are holding our own. With some of the things that I'm going to mention, we are definitely outperforming other cities, and it just gives me so much excitement to be able to say that about Little Farmers Branch. We're growing up, we're in the big times. So, you know, this video did capture a lot of what I was going to talk about tonight, and we'll review it maybe in a little more detail. So I'm not going to belabor that, but I'm very excited about the growth, the opportunity that is here in the city, and that is thanks to not only the staff that we have, but residents that are supportive of what our city council is doing. And it's a very important partnership. So one of the first things, and again, I'll talk more about this in a minute, it was mentioned up there, was the biggest win, corporate relocation win in this city's history was with the company FormFactor. They're moving their corporate headquarters from Livermore, California to Farmers Branch. And we were in the running against 5 other sites, I believe it was, and a site in Germany. And we were selected. And thanks goes to the council for enabling the city manager and his staff to put together a very good incentive package. This company had bought some real estate in Farmers Branch a couple of years ago and just sat on it. Didn't know what they were going to do. They make semiconductor testing equipment, and they're probably the leader in that space. Well, through the selection process, Farmers Branch was selected, and now they're looking at immediately investing over $340 million in the site that they purchased, and I think we'll end up with about 600 jobs coming into Farmers Branch because of this. So that's huge. Thank you, staff. Another win for us, as was mentioned on the video, was the Pickleball World Championships. And the third year for that, I never would have thought pickleball would have been as big as it is, but it continues to be a growing sport, and we're very excited about having good partners like PPA and invited clubs. So pickleball will be back for 2026, and that is important because of what it brings to our city. Over 60,000 spectators came to see pickleball over the 9 days that it was here. Additionally, as was mentioned, our AAA bond rating from Fitch and S&P. That speaks volumes to the financial stewardship that our city management and the city council have. They're being good stewards of your tax dollars. So it's very easy to sit back and say, hey, they spend every cent they get. Well, no, we don't. And in fact, as I'll mention in a minute, I'll give an example of how we don't and how we use some of those funds to prepare for the future. And so many of these highlights are just a brief snapshot of some of our recent achievements, and I'm going to get into a little more detail. But before we do, I just want to make sure that we set expectations. So if you would allow me to go through the presentation and just do my part, then we will take questions from the audience. And when you come up, please limit to one question so we can get everybody through. Come up to the microphone, say your name and where you live. You don't have to give your address, but I'm Terry Lynn, Farmers Branch. And just identify yourself that way. And we will address policy level questions. I do have staff members here and the city manager here that will be able to speak to operational issues of the city. So we'll run things that way. So in the video you saw a slide or a mention about strategic planning. And strategic planning is really the driving force behind everything that we do here in the city. It's a very involved process. It's an ever ongoing process. And it's very important that while the council is involved in strategic planning, that, all right, let's all check. Okay. That you, as residents, are involved in the process. Well, how do you get involved? You get involved by having dialogue with your elected representatives. When you see them out and about, talk to them about things that are on your mind. Make an appointment to visit with them and share with them what your thoughts are. We can't make this city better without your input. It's a partnership. So, as I mentioned, this is something that is ongoing all year long. Even though we're not formally doing strategic planning right now, we will get started again here in probably another month working on the strategic plan. Then we move into budget, and the cycle will just keep repeating itself. So the strategic plan does involve a number of things, and I'll just mention briefly, strong and diverse economy. Well, a city is going to have ups and downs in its growth cycle, in its business cycle. We have to be very prepared in order to weather the downs. We can handle growth, but we also need to be able to handle the downs. And I think that's very important. And that's why each business in our city is so vitally important, because businesses pay 74% of what it costs us to run this city. When we talk about connected neighborhoods, not only the housing and the diverse housing that we have, but also the parks, the trails, the amenities that we provide, which help build strong neighborhoods. Public safety. This should be, it is at the top of my list. Hopefully it should be at the top of everybody's list, but making sure that our public safety is well funded, that they have the most modern tools that will help them to do their jobs, and competitive benefits for those folks that serve us. This is the one thing that really gives me peace of mind to be able to sleep at night, because we're paying for insurance, and that's what they're providing us. We talk about customer service, and in the video is mentioned world-class customer service. Well, we're always striving to do better. And sometimes as representatives, the only time we hear from people is when they have an issue. You know what? That's okay. Tell us. We are working to try to make our system better. And unless we know what's happening, we can't make it better. That's why I go back to, it's a partnership, two-way street. We need that input from you so we can be refining our system and providing the best customer service possible. We're still a small town. We should be able to do that. High performance. I talk about that because as a boxer, a lightweight boxer, and we're boxing in the heavyweight division, we're holding our own. We out-deliver on what we go after, and I think that's very important. And our Economic Development Department has had exceptional results this past year. And then, of course, sustainability and recognizing our responsibility to the future, making sure that we're leaving our city to those that come behind us in a better place. And we're doing the things that are necessary to live in today's world. You know, we just had water rate increase. Water's getting more and more expensive, probably the scarcest resource that we have. So we need to do things anything that we can in order to be more sustainability oriented. So let's talk about strong and diverse economy a little bit more. I mentioned Form Factor with their headquarters coming here, and they're probably going to have about 600 jobs coming to our city. South College. South College is a medical tech training college located out in Park West, and it is state of the art. Oh my gosh. We went out there to see it, and you'd think you were in an actual hospital going through and seeing their classrooms, seeing the instruction that they're giving students. Their facilities are just first rate. Brinks or Monotronics, longtime resident of the city. Kudos to our Economic Development Department, our city manager office for being able to sign an agreement to keep them in our city for 10 more years. They're one of our largest sales tax generators. So very important that we have them in our city. And of course, Mustang Station, where the restaurants are right here. While the area is leased up, it needs help. It needs help because of the road construction. And, you know, progress comes with a cost. And the cost is people can't get in there very easily. So I ask all of you to think about, if you're going to go out to eat sometime, give one of the restaurants over there a try, like starting tonight or tomorrow. It's important. I mean, this road construction couldn't have come at a worse time, and it has had an effect on their business. So we just asked for some help there. Then we have also had a couple other companies that are coming to Farmers Branch. Living Spaces, in case you're not aware, is going to be opening up next to At Home over at Midway and 635. And then there's also a company called Grab-A-Gun, which is a online retailer of firearms. So there won't be any shooting going on where they're located. They sell online all over the country, very large generator of sales tax. And is there anybody here from Coppell? Okay. We actually stole that business from Coppell. The mayor has not called me on it yet, but they'll be coming over here. So very exciting to have that. Of course, the Pickleball World Championships are a big economic driver to our city. Pickleball generates about $16 million to our local economy, so it's an important factor in everything that we do here. As are other sports. Sports is a major driver of the economic success here in Farmers Branch. And we have Stars Hockey Center. We have the new multi-sport center for basketball and volleyball. We have state-of-the-art baseball, softball, and soccer facilities here. And we're working to even bring some more stuff to Farmers Branch. Sports is a major driver, and we've made a niche just in what we have to offer and provide to those teams that are coming here to use our facilities. We mentioned connected neighborhoods, and this is really important. Our city is diverse in terms of housing, and we have different neighborhoods, and we have older neighborhoods that we're trying to preserve the integrity of. We have neighborhoods that are going through tremendous residential revitalization, and in order to help with preserving some of our older neighborhoods, we have been the recipient of some grant funds that have helped in terms of the housing replacement program that is going on here in Farmers Branch. Of course, we had a program that's been ongoing with Builders of Hope, and then we started a minor home repair program that is really for seniors or those that are truly in need and that are having a hard time getting their home fixed up, especially from the exterior. And so this program, we've been able to help 14 families this past year, giving out almost $75,000 worth of funds to help folks improve their homes. And of course, when they're improving their homes, it's improving the city. And one thing I don't think that gets talked about enough is the commercial facade grant program. So if you're a business owner, we do have a program where if you want to update the front of your building, the city will help participate in that. Bring us a plan, and depending on what you're going to invest in your property, the city could spend or invest as much as $50,000 to assist you. So that helps our commercial businesses look modern and fresh. A number of businesses around the city have taken advantage of this, and I think it's a program that goes sort of underutilized, if you will. We only had 2 businesses last year that took advantage of it, and so I'm hoping that this next year that we'll be able to do a better job of marketing that and getting the word out. Of course, along with all this, we continue to invest in trails. We have Rawhide Trail, which is continuing its redevelopment, and we're widening that. The video mentioned Dutch Village. You just got a new upgraded and enhanced playground. And then the Branch Connection, which went under major renovation. And oh my gosh, that place is first rate. So if you haven't been over there, please go in, just take a look. But beyond that, pick up the brochure. Look at all the programs that they offer. You would really have to try hard not to find something that you would like. There's so much going on over there. And I applaud the staff for everything that they do there. And that's what's helped to build membership coming in there. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to the Senior Advisory Board. Of course, our police department and our fire department continue. Okay. They continue to keep us safe, as I mentioned earlier. Speeding is still an issue. And I know nobody here in Farmers Branch speeds, because you know our motto in Farmers Branch is don't speed in Farmers Branch. It's people from elsewhere, right? So we have motorcycles that are out there. And if you see one of them in your rearview mirror, it may not be a good day for you. But they are working to slow traffic down, and they're doing an extremely good job. But unfortunately, we have these people that are coming from north of us and from south of us that don't know our rules. And so we will continue to make that a priority in our city. It's interesting. We added 5 new police officers. Our number of call volume, think about that, 26,000 calls for service, over 2,000 a month. Our fire calls, thank goodness we have a very robust fire inspection program, especially for our multifamily and commercial facilities. So we don't have a whole lot of buildings or homes burning down in Farmers Branch. And our fire department, they're on the spot with stellar response time. So we really appreciate that. But we're a growing city, and the need for service and those calls are going to continue to grow. So just know that that comes with a cost. Our infrastructure improvements, as was mentioned in the video, we're spending millions of dollars to upgrade and enhance a number of different areas of the city. Valley View Lane, obviously, supposed to be finished the end of February. This weather may have knocked us back another week or so, but they're trying to wrap it up as quickly as they can. Denton Drive, I think that project was moving at a very good speed. Of course, we have drainage projects going on down on Webb Chapel. Everything is exacerbated by the work going on I-35. We're not doing that work. I-35 is supposed to be done in Farmers Branch by September. Hopefully they will hold to that. I don't know, I'm taking bets, but we'll see. And then, as was mentioned in the video, thanks to a very generous donor, we're going to be expanding our animal adoption center to accommodate cats, not dogs, cats, as was this donor's wish. And so they'll be adding a state-of-the-art facility for that over there. So let's move into the money part of tonight's discussion. And I always like this slide because I think it puts into a very visible perspective what are we paying for in our tax bill. If the average home is about $452,000 here in Farmers Branch, then what is that? Let's break that down. Well, they're going to pay almost $7,000 a year in property tax. And of that property tax, the school district is going to get close to half, 44%. The city of Farmers Branch gets 27%. And then we have Dallas County, we have Parkland Hospital, and the Dallas County Community College District. So all of these entities, we all have to pay for all of these things, and the city is not getting rich off of property tax. Now, we do not control property values. That is done by the appraisal district. Many people take issue with their appraised values, and you have the right to do that and go down and protest your property tax valuation. And if you need more information about that, we can talk about that afterwards. But that is a right that if you believe your property is overvalued or undervalued, you can talk to the appraisal district. If it's undervalued, they're probably going to catch up with you. But it takes a lot to run that city because of that 27%, we're $83 million thereabouts. Our overall budget is about $169 million. So every piece of property, every business, and every sale that is made at a retail establishment is important. So when you go and buy something, if you spend $1, you're going to pay 8.25 cents in sales tax. 6.25 cents is going to go to the state. 1 cent comes to Farmers Branch, and 1 cent goes to DART. So every DART member city pays half of its local sales tax to be a member of DART. So for a city like Farmers Branch that's funding public transportation, that amounts to about $25 million a year, or a little over $2 million a month that we're paying to be a member of DART. And over the 43 years that Farmers Branch has been a member city of DART, we've paid in over $500 million. There are cities that are not members of DART, and they have been able to reinvest the other half of their sales tax in their city for roads, police, infrastructure, economic development, whatnot. Our city is dealing with a very serious issue right now. And that issue is headed to a vote and a decision of you all as to whether we should stay in DART or not. In the coming days, you'll see more information about that. It's a very expensive proposition. It's a decision that the 5 council members are not going to be making. The voters will make the decision whether to remain in DART or leave the DART system. But I will assure you, we are already making preparation to provide transportation for Farmers Branch residents. Nobody will be left behind. The staff has been working for months. City Council has been reviewing other providers. We will have transportation for our residents who need it, and should something happen that we exit the DART system. Okay. I know there will probably be some questions about this that come up. I'm not here, none of us are here tonight to advocate one way or the other for DART. This is going to be your decision. But it's important to know that we take this is probably the biggest decision that this council, probably a lot of past councils, have ever had to deal with. We've been very public in terms of what is it that we want from DART. The City Council authorized me to send a note stating what our requests were to DART, and we did that, and that was on December 17th. My 3-page letter that went to the board chair and the CEO of DART. Have not heard a word back since. Farmers Branch is not the only city that's putting continued participation up to a vote of the taxpayers. In fact, on Tuesday night, Addison just decided to do the same. we believe our responsibility as a city council is to our residents. And we're seeking equity and accountability. And I need to make sure that any of our residents that ride on DART are going to be safe and secure. You know, I've talked to so many business owners, and our council sat in this room and heard from a group of businesses that they didn't want DART anymore. They didn't feel like they were bringing them the kind of people that were going to come in and frequent their business. But yet, mass transit is important to our region. Okay? Bus service, not so much in Farmers Branch. I challenge you to look at buses when you see them driving on the street in Farmers Branch. They will be empty all day long. Empty buses don't do anything except tear up our streets. GoLink service, which is sort of the on-call type service, and paratransit, very important services. But there are other providers that can provide that type service. We have a business out on Valley View Lane, Envision, that has close to 90 people that depend on paratransit every day because they're blind. It shouldn't take them 3 hours to get to work and 3 hours to get home after they've worked all day. So we need more reliable transportation. The system has got to be equitable for all of the cities. Farmers Branch does not have an actual voice at DART board meetings. We share a representative seat with Plano. Plano has 1.5 seats, and so they represent us with the other half. We're seeking 1 seat for every city so we can all be heard. We're seeking financial equity in this thing. We're paying a lot of money every year. That's money that could be reinvested back into our city to do so many things. Roads, infrastructure, economic development, lower the tax rate, you name it. And yet, our hands are tied. Should this vote go forward, and I say should, the ball's in DART's court. They haven't responded to us. I have been in no less than 40 meetings with DART representatives, mayors and city managers, DART board, individual meetings with DART board, the RTC, which is the Regional Transportation Coalition, the Dallas Regional Mobility Coalition. All of these meetings trying to affect the outcome of a better system. Over 2.5 years, I've been sitting in these meetings and nothing has happened. We didn't just decide to do this. This has been building up for years, and obviously we're not alone because Carrollton, Irving, Highland Park, University Park, and now Addison, they're all voting. But if DART comes to the table in the few weeks that we have left, we could say, hey, all right, you're negotiating in good faith with us. You're willing to make sacrifice. We're willing to make sacrifice. We can compromise. Nobody wins in a compromise, but hopefully we can all walk away thinking, okay, we did the best we could. We've got a good agreement, and we can move forward and preserve the system. That happens, great. City Council will meet, and they can decide we're not going to have the election. But if that doesn't happen, then the election will move forward. There are cities that DART will lose, and the system will suffer. So, in the event that happens, and if it were to happen here in Farmers Branch, we will have transportation options available for our residents. That is what the staff is working on right now. So I will keep you informed. The city will keep you informed through newsletters and press releases. You're free to ask any of us any questions about this, but no, this is, in my mind, the most serious thing that we are having to deal with as a city, and I don't think any one of us takes it lightly, that's for sure. So I'm hopeful that we will be able to reach compromise, and that we can all walk away saying we did a good job to preserve something for the region. Okay? So with that, excuse me one sec. I don't think I mentioned Carrollton, but if I did, I was mistaken. Carrollton's not voting yet. They haven't put it forward. So, but their mayor has been involved in all these discussions with us. So, anyway, with that, I want to open up the floor. So if anybody has any questions about anything going on in the city, whether it's for me, whether it's for our council or staff, we're here. I ask that you please come up, limit it to one question first so we can get through anybody who wants, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I have a process question. My name is David Jones. I own a home at 3554 Golf and Green Drive. My question is a process question first. I have comments I'd like to make and a question. I promise you it's less than 3 minutes, or do you want me to just ask a question? What's the process?
Let's go with the question.
Okay, all right. The question is, here's our ask of City Council. If we are unable to negotiate a new agreement with DART by our February 27th deadline, can we please pump the brakes and call off the election in May? If it makes sense, later in the year, City Council can vote to decide to participate in an election in November, thereby regaining our leverage with DART, because we lose our leverage with DART if we have an election in May. We retain it if we have an election in November. And we would still be within our every 6-year window of opportunity. Such a strategic pause would give us time to see if any of the other member cities are successful in securing a new agreement with DART. And more importantly, we can learn from the experience of any other member cities who do vote to pull out of DART. So once again, my question is, can we please pump the brakes if we don't have an agreement by February 27th, and call off the election in May, and we can still have an election in November? That's my question.
Thank you very much for the question. The DART issue is one that the council will discuss almost every council meeting, and so I can't say that it would be called off. Secondly, DART, while they're going around and talking to other cities, because I know they talk with Irving, they're not talking with everybody. This is a problem with what is happening right now. DART they may be trying to negotiate, if you will, with various cities. They can't do for one and not everybody. We're all held to the same standard. And right now, the DART answer has been all or nothing. 1 cent, all or nothing. Now, we passed a resolution back in late 2024 to lower our contribution from 1 cent to 3/4 cent, as did 5 other cities at the time. It was just a resolution, said this is what we would like to do. And that was really, discussions had been going on way before that. Discussions had been going on way before I was ever mayor here. DART's problem is they haven't sat down with all of us in a room and said, okay, we hear you. Haven't said that. In fact, the night that this city council voted to put participation up for an election, you had the board chair and the CEO and the former board chair sitting on the front row. As soon as we took that vote, we took a recess. Everybody went out into the lobby, and I went out to the lobby with our city manager, and I was talking with the CEO, Nadine Lee, and she said to me, we just don't know what you want. How could you be any more tone deaf? You've got cities for, in my case, 2.5 years that I've been mayor, and you're saying that to me? But that wasn't the only thing that caught my mind or my attention that night. Gary Slagle, the former board chair, said to me, Mayor, I'm really sorry, really disappointed y'all took the vote that you did. You just don't get it. It's not your money, it's DART's money. His words to my ears in the lobby. I like Gary Slagle. We've had many meetings. He has never said that to me before. And I said to him, I'm shocked that you would say that to me, because that money is not your money. It belongs to the taxpayers of the city of Farmers Branch. And just like they voted 43 years ago to get in DART, they're now going to have the opportunity to decide whether they want to stay or not. So you might want to watch that when you're talking to the voters. I thought that was pretty nervy. That money belongs to the taxpayers of Farmers Branch. It belongs to the city of Farmers Branch because it's based off of retail sales that take place in our city. So clearly, they're not getting the message. And then as recently as the Friday before Christmas, Randall Bryant, the board chair, requested a meeting with myself and the city manager. I invited Mayor Pro Tem Tina Bennett Burton to sit in, so there'd be another witness in the room, if you will. And he says, I need to talk about this. I don't know or understand what you're asking for. Man, it's been really clear 2.5 years. Our ask and the asks of the other member cities has not changed. So I don't know what more we can say. There's a disconnect. I call it a disconnect. And it's unfortunate. So, and then since that time, we have not heard from DART. And I talk weekly to mayors from other cities. So that's sort of where things stand at this moment.
My name is Scott Conley. I live on Marsh and Crest Park Lane here in Farmers Branch. And first of all,
Yeah, speak a little louder.
first, Scott Conley, Farmers Branch. First of all, thank you to the board and you, Terry, for the work you do. I have lived in many cities in the country. You are far and away above any other that I've ever witnessed for communication with the citizens. I'm very impressed by your ability to communicate the message, to explain, and just to overdo the communication so that people understand what the city's doing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My question is, all of this, in my mind, goes back to legal concerns, and I'm certainly against fixed-in-place transit. I think that mobility and fluctuating transit is a better way to go, but there's a contract somewhere that says these are the terms that we in Dallas and the other supporting communities have agreed to. That's been in place for some time, and I worry that you're asking the citizens to vote against what is a contract. And maybe you could explain, what was the original contract? Is it flawed in some way? Is it not supported by the city of Dallas? And just give some legal perspective to this whole debate.
Sure. Thank you for that question. Very good one. I'm going to invite my city manager to come up also. The process that we're going through is a process that's afforded every 6 years to member cities. Don't forget there was a time way back when 2 cities did opt out, Flower Mound and Coppell. Had to be 20 plus years ago, but they did opt out. But I'm going to let Ben Williamson, our city manager, speak to the rest of your question.
So we're not going to get into legal advice on this one. It's just exercising a contract right that sits in there for all the Dart City members. Every 6 years, the member cities are allowed to call for an election to determine membership within Dart. And that is what the city council has afforded this right to go to the voters to have that discussion. And also, so it is part of the contract. It's not breaking a contract, it's exercising a right within the contract. So it's pure, all within realm.
Don't go far.
Mr. Mayor, Council, hello. My name's Andy Jones. I live over on the west side in Mercer Crossing, and I shockingly have a non-DART related question for you. I would love to know, because I didn't see it in the slide, the progress on the Mercer Crossing boardwalk and the work with the county on developing the trails out on the west side and where we are on that economic development. Because I see apartment buildings going up. There's more than just apartment buildings that should be going up. So I'm wondering about how the economic development is going on the west side.
Okay. I'm going to invite Councilman Reed.
I can see his house from my backyard. Good to see you, Dave. How are you?
Good. I'm going to let him take that one.
Thank you.
As far as the boardwalk and progress there, we're in conversation with the developers there. It's kind of at a standstill at this point. As far as Mercer Park, we recently allocated $780,000, a large sum of money towards the final planning for the park, and so we're just waiting for that to come through. I think we voted on that in October, and then we're in the process of allocating additional funds for the build. So where it stands right now, the architects are busy at their elevated board and drawing things out for us. And once we get that, we'll go into the next phase. I don't know if Rob, is there anything I need to add, or is that pretty much it?
That's Parks and Rec, but the boardwalks, do you see something's happening?
The boardwalk, you're talking where the restaurants are?
Yeah.
We're waiting to hear back, and help me out, economic development. We're waiting to hear back from the owners of the property as far as what they're looking to do in the future. We've got Bugatti's there, which is up and strong and doing well. We've got the other 2 restaurants, which are kind of in a holding position. And as far as the other space, we don't know what the progress is there. I know we did vote a rezoning approval for pickleball courts on the, we have pickleball courts everywhere. Yeah. We're going to put one right back, no, just kidding. But for a business to put that in, but that's where it stopped. So again, there we're in a holding position. The location is kind of difficult for that type of, for the businesses from a visibility standpoint. So there needs to be some work done there. I know there's some construction directly to the east of it for some multifamilies, and The hope is that that's going to provide some bit of revitalization with a new client base, as well as the, over by us, the multifamily that is going up there. So outside of that, there's not much more that the city itself can do. It's up to the developer, but we're reaching out to them to see how we can help and determine what the next steps are.
Thank you, Andy.
Maxwell George Broderick, Farmers Branch. Terry, Mayor Terry, we appreciate your service and the service of the City Council. And just one question I have about the DART situation is, if we were to stay with DART and other cities dropped out, would our financial burden be greater than what it already is?
No, we would still be in for the 1 cent.
Okay, so they couldn't raise that because other cities would drop out.
No.
Well, how would they meet their budget?
That's a DART question. The cities that are in for 1 cent, as it presently stands.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. And let me just add to that, and this maybe goes back to David Jones's question a moment ago. If we are to leave DART, if that's the way the vote goes, then it's important to note that the 1 cent contribution that the City of Farmers Branch is currently making will continue, but that money will be applied to our pro rata share of DART's debt. And so for the City of Farmers Branch, our share is estimated to be about $180 million currently. So we would have to pay off our share of DART's debt before we can start putting that penny back into the city coffers. And that will probably take, been estimated, 5 to 6 years for us to do that, because sales tax is growing a little bit. So please keep that in mind.
David Silver, Farmers Branch. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you. Staff. DART comment question. So under the assumption that we as a city decide to no longer participate, what happens to all of the buses and the trains that are currently traversing north and south through our city? How does that work?
So if the vote goes and voters no longer wish to stay in the DART system, the day that the election is canvassed, services will stop the next day. The train will not stop at Farmers Branch Station. It will probably just keep going north. Buses will not run in Farmers Branch. GoLink and Paratransit will not be delivered in Farmers Branch. Buses, it's my understanding, will still run at Dallas College. So, because they sort of have their own agreement. But the City of Farmers Branch will have transportation for our residents in terms of a on-call type service and paratransit.
Well, my concern is the trains will still use the tracks, they just
Yes.
won't stop. Do the buses continue to roll down Webb's Chapel and Josie and Midway and Marsh Lanes from Carrollton south and from Dallas north?
I don't
Do we
know
know
that
that answer? Because I
yeah.
haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
why
know
I'm asking.
the discussions have gotten that far. They may take out all the bus stops and just not stop.
Okay.
We would like them not to drive on the streets because we don't need the heavy vehicles tearing up our streets if they're not providing service to our residents. But that's a point that still needs to be, or would need to be worked out.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Barbara Courier, resident of Farmers Branch.
Yeah.
Thank you for laying out the arguments so thoroughly in your presentation about the DART issue. I know you said that you're going to be unbiased and make it even, and I have to say it didn't really feel that way. But my question is related to the last question. So far, I am able-bodied enough to be able to drive, but I'm a senior citizen, and there's going to be a time when I need bus service. Suppose I wanted to get to, let's say, the Galleria, and we had a local bus system. It's going to stop somewhere, which is not going to be a DART bus stop, I'm sure. I can't imagine if we leave DART, they're going to let us use their bus stops. How will I then get to a bus to get me to these places I may need to go, my doctor's office, wherever, outside of Farmers Branch?
Understood. Very good, valid question. I'm going to bring up, since that's an operational issue.
Thank you so much for the question. That's a great question. So the council's been very clear that residents will maintain the service level regardless of what happens of the vote. The City of Farmers Branch is pro-mobility, but it's also good financial stewardship. And so when we look at the opportunities and you see the letter that was sent to DART about concerns, it's one of those, it's not just maintaining that minimum level, but if there is a change, what would you expect the next day? And that expectation is that, one, right now we're at an RFI model, so request for information has been sent out to transit companies across the country saying, here's what we want to do. And it's going to be data driven, because right now if we say who rides DART, to, where, from, and how is it being used, that's hard to figure out. The other part is going to be, is we want it to be more customer service friendly. So if you do need a ride, you can use it like you would do any other ride-hailing service. The ride would come to you, so you're not out in the elements, you're not out there waiting, it would come to you. The council has the ability to set any service level that they feel is appropriate. So if we need to get to the medical district, if we need to get to the airports, if we need to connect to other mass transit, other rails, those are all things that are identified in the RFI as potential service levels that the council can then program for the future moving forward. So the whole alignment has been structured to say, if something does happen, you all shouldn't pay the price as residents for that change, and so it's making sure that gap is bridged for the residents. And so that's what council has tasked staff with, is making sure that you do not feel an interruption, you do not miss meetings, you do not miss getting to work, you do not miss doctor's appointments. So it will connect to the greater system. And again, we're not alone in this. There's 5 other cities. What happens if 2, 3, 4 other cities are out and we're in? Those connection points are going to be lost on that side. So the cities are working together too to say, what does the future look like? We are hopeful that DART will respond to the request from the City of Farmers Branch that bring enhancements to you all, but it also bounds it too with the facts that we've been given. One business out of the thousands we have has reached out to us and said, this is a service level we need. Many, many, many more have reached out to us and said, please, we would like to go in the other direction. It does not help our business model. And so we're listening to our corporate tenants in addition to our residents as well. So it's and also just using those conversations and the data to say, how can we best serve Farmers Branch? And so that's how it would start to work in the future should there be a change, and that's the preparation level the council has expected. Once the procurement process is complete, it will come back to council publicly, and you all will know exactly what to expect. But there are tons of different models just in the Metroplex. If you look at Grand Prairie, you look at Arlington, you look at other cities, how does their transportation models work? And those are just local cities. The council did go on a trip and visit another city to see how their different services work, to experience it. Council has also experienced DART level service. We all have, even staff. We've taken the trains, we've gotten on the buses. We want to experience it firsthand as well. So it's not just looking at it and judging, it's experiencing it too, to see what is the experience of our visitors and guests to Farmers Branch. But the short answer is we will connect to the transit system regardless. That is the goal, to be part of regional transit. How we connect would be up to the residents in May, what's decided, and then the council would help set those service levels for you all as residents. The big advantage of local control is council sets the service levels based on the needs of you as the community and the feedback they get from you all. So it can be different and a different experience depending on what the council would like to see. So lots more options to consider, but it wouldn't be hard. It would be tough to justify going to the Galleria, because that is a great place to go. But if it's driven by sales tax, why wouldn't we focus on Farmers Branch businesses, Farmers Branch destinations as much as possible? Because we want to make sure we feed the local economy as well. You hear it all the time, shop local, shop local. Our restaurants do need help. The Boardwalk restaurant struggled, and eventually those two did close over there. So it's visibility, and it's getting folks, making it easy to access the restaurants that are here. Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to go have dinner, maybe have a beverage or two, and make it home safe and sound and to your door? So it's looking at all those different communication levers and not just making it just for one group, for everyone. And so we've heard from a lot of folks that visit Farmers Branch. We don't want to lose that either. And so we've taken down every piece of information from every speaker. We will be reaching out to them and seeing what concerns do you have and how can we help with those concerns. So again, we're not turning a deaf ear to anybody that reaches out. Every concern is valid. And we want to make sure you have facts and data to make your decision. So the future, as council goes through the process, will be completely clear and transparent. Another ride servicing company is aware of where we're going. An example of a paratransit vehicle is parked in front of City Hall right now. And so there's options to go, and you can go talk to them and ask them questions too. But we invite you all to the conversation to be part of it, and there's still a long ways to go. But service will not be disrupted.
Thank you, Byron.
Brian Rogers, Farmers Ranch. So you said that you had done an analysis of how much Farmers Branch spent and how much DART spent in Farmers Branch. I'm guessing that expenditure is in terms of infrastructure, but the question I'm wondering is, has an analysis been done comparing Farmers Branch's contribution in dollars to passenger miles for trips, either starting or ending in Farmers Branch, and comparing that to the same for other cities?
This morning, for about 2.5 hours, yes, DART presented the findings on a study. It's information that has not been provided to the council yet, but as the information goes through the council, it will be released publicly as well. So there are different analyses that are being done. It's tough to quantify it because it is an open system, so the integrity of the data will always be something that's a challenge. And so sometimes you have to look at it and go, are the resources being utilized as efficiently as we would like? So are the seats full? And so there's other elements to it, but yes, different analysis, and it's basically an XYZ comparison. There's the regional cost, there's the direct city benefit and cost, and then there's the delta, which would be the Z. There's a whole bunch of graphs and charts. Again, that was this morning, so we haven't had time to digest it and review it, but these analyses are coming that show different data and different ways of looking at how you look at the value proposition. So that is coming, but again, it's coming from third external parties as well. The most recent study we had was an Ernst & Young study, which is where you see a lot of, here's what the city pays in, and here's what the calculated benefit is. And we're a donor city right now, so we would be subsidizing other cities that get greater benefit from being in the system. But those analyses are coming.
That meeting this morning was for city managers only.
City managers, DART, and the North Texas Commission.
So I'm sure we'll be hearing about this shortly as the mayor's group.
Pamela Silver, Farmers Branch.
Speak a little closer.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do agree, as a citizen of Farmers Branch, that I have absolutely no problem in making sure that citizens of Farmers Branch who need the services of DART have that service, even if it's on a smaller footprint or profile, smaller buses, door-to-door service, especially for the people who have problems navigating because they're blind or they have some other physical impairment. I think that's a better solution for our constituency here in Farmers Branch than to be paying these enormous dollars that we are now locked into for whatever reason for 5 years. I'm also appalled to know, or hear about, I should say, that these executives in DART are getting these huge bonuses every year. I would like to have that validated. But what bothers me the most, even though y'all have done your homework, and I was delighted to hear a lot of the information you have conveyed, especially about DART, because that is a huge hickey on our city and every other city around us. But as an analyst, What bothers me most in all the executive sessions I've sat in throughout my career, that the one little detail that has not been given to us as voters, and we should be able to vote, whether there's any other type of agreement made, is that we haven't seen what does our ridership look like day in, day out. We need a month-over-month summary of Farmers Branch citizens who are using the service, and we need to see that delta month over month. And then we also need to see what does that account for in terms of dollars by person or rider. We have overlooked that one little detail, and I would like to see that before I'm given the privilege of voting. And by the way, yes, voting is a privilege. We deserve to vote. So I am for having our people served. I am not for staying in because of these enormous funds that are only going to continue to grow year over year. And if DART is a public service to any city, and by the way, we should all be paying the equal amount or a fair portion of that, and have that seat, then we definitely need to have that information to vote. It's our decision, not y'all's.
Well, that's why we put it out there. So, in response, your question or a comment about their CEO, she makes $400,000 a year. The DART board just gave her a $60,000 bonus. Again, I don't have a voice at the DART meeting. I would not have supported that. You've got cities that are looking to get out of your system and your board is giving you a bonus. That's a problem. They also gave themselves a raise as DART board members. The ridership information that you asked about, I think there's a big difference between what we believe to be correct information from Farmers Branch versus what DART has made public.
It should be all on the table, Terry.
The information's out there. The information's out there, okay? And we have had the DART ridership information that they finally delivered to us, that is public information. And I don't know whether they have that on their website or not. Happy to share with you whatever they have given us. Those are public documents. I also asked them for crime statistics and anything related to a crime that took place on DART. They completely omitted that. So they're only giving us what I would say is an inflated view of numbers from their perspective. But that'll get sorted out.
As a voter, I cannot endorse an organization that does not give us all the information up front. It was an extension of my question in the topic.
Well, I'm trying to limit to one question. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Naoko Suzuki Bagby, a Farmers Branch resident. I'm a DART rider, and I'm not good at driving the highway, like I-35 or 635. So that is a way by myself travel to downtown or airport or Hilton. My question is the letter to the DART. I could not find like a Farmers Branch website, City of Farmers Branch website, the posting of the letter from the mayor to the DART. So where can I find the letter? If it's not posted, would you please post so that the people can view?
We'll have to double check, but we do have it. Council has copies of all that. If it's not on the website, I'm sure it will be, and I'm sure there will be additional information forthcoming related to the facts. Again, we're not sitting here, we cannot sit here and advocate for or against. I'm just trying to deliver facts. It's going to be your decision.
Yes. I read that letter on the Facebook posted. So the City of Farmers Branch Facebook had a letter of the mayor. That was the first time I saw January something. So
I can't, I don't know what's on the social media site, so I can't comment. But if we have anything that we have that's public documents from DART, we can probably create.
Not from the DART, from mayor to the DART. Your letter to the DART.
Yes.
December 17th letter.
Yes. So we received a report from DART, and we can probably place that on our city website, Ben, I would imagine. Yeah. So.
And then the DART had requested like a meeting with a letter on
It
Christmas
will
or
only,
something.
we will post what DART sent us.
No. Mayor's letter to the DART. Yeah. Mayor's letter to DART. So we like, yeah, please post it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff and everybody. Before I ask my question, I have a comment. My name is Mary Ann, thank you, Peffer, and I am proudly a Farmers Branch resident. My comment, I have a thank you to our police and our fire, especially our EMS, because I'm sitting this evening next to a gentleman who wouldn't be here this evening without Farmers Branch, without the money for the services, without the dedication of y'all to take care, because he had some very significant health things in the last 30 days. And thanks to Farmers Branch and EMS and 4 very strong EMS guys who at first saw a huge blood pressure come all the way down, for those of you who know numbers, to 51/31. I say thank you for getting my husband to the help that he needed. And I wouldn't mind pausing my question if the rest of us could say thank you too. So here is my question for the city of Farmers Branch to y'all. Can you develop some ideas for us to be able to say thank you? Because we are always given the opportunity to give questions. But maybe a lot of us have thanks. And I guess we could post them. That's a good idea. I didn't think about that. Post them to the website when little things come up. But if y'all can give us some guidance and things like that over the next couple of months, I would love to see a way for the citizens of Farmers Branch to be able to be grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Beal, Farmers Branch. Sorry, that's going to be a hard one to follow up. Mine is just a couple development questions. One is I'd like to know, I tried to find it on a website, couldn't, but the details of what's going on north of LBJ and east of Ford Road, the development, something about a warehouse district or something. And then, sorry to bring it up again, but the building east of Dallas Medical Center, where we stand with that, if there's any movement at all with it. Thank you.
So regarding 635 and Ford Road, yes, that is a warehouse that's going in there at that, to the east there of the street. So there's actually 2, because the Wyndham Hotel has come down, and there will be a warehouse going in there. In regards to the property next door to Dallas Medical Center, the crane is down, so that was a plus. But you know, that property was tied up in bankruptcy for a number of years, and it's my understanding that the construction company has taken that property out of bankruptcy. They're taking it over. They intend to complete it. It will be multifamily, but it will not be age restricted. I do not know the time frame that they will be working under, but the plan is for them to complete the project. Come on.
Still Barbara Courier from Farmers Branch. Follow-up question on DART, sorry.
Yeah.
I appreciate the work the city is doing to make the alternate plans and to figure out what all the possibilities are. Can I ask that prior to an election, we will have an estimate of what it would cost us to ride? Currently, as a senior citizen, I can ride all of DART all day long for $3. And I don't know if we can match that. So we need to have that information before we can vote, I think.
Yep.
This will be the easiest question and the simplest. Yes, you will have that information beforehand as the purchasing process is complete. What the cost will be to you all as residents to use a different service will be clear and transparent. We do not expect it to vary different from your current experience levels because the city will work to subsidize the service to make sure, again, it's one thing to say there's an option, but if it's going to cost you $25 per trip, that's not a real solution, and the council recognizes that as well, and they've given very clear direction. It's the service level also includes what you pay for it as well. So there will be very transparent processes, and you all will know all of that information well ahead of time.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Johnny Jackson, Janwood Lane. I want to know if the Valwood or Cooks Creek Trail, the ongoing improvements are going to continue, or they're just going to stop where they're at now?
Cooks Creek. See him after? Okay. Ben will talk with you afterwards. I don't have the answer on that, so. Come on, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Bill Glancy. I live at 3808 Wooded Creek Drive in Farmers Branch. And I know nobody likes to hear history, but maybe on dealing with DART, it might be good to have a little bit of history with it. I was on the council back in 1982 when this issue was brought to the city of Dallas about getting into the transit system, and we did quite a bit of research on it. I mean, we went and looked at other cities where transit systems were. Of course, a lot of them were places where the transit system was put in before the city was developed, so it works different than when you try to put a transit system over an existing city. But I know we were pushed very hard to let people vote on this, and I know one of the things that tickled me about it, when people came to me, I had a lot of people said, Bill, I want you to let us vote on this DART thing because I want everybody else to ride the train and so I can drive my car. So, you know, that was kind of the philosophy, but I think the whole thing is, it's been very difficult. And I know I've served in your place twice before and having a lot of dealings with DART. I didn't have 40 meetings with them, but because we never got much productivity out of having many meetings with them, and they did a lot of things that, and the transit system was sold to the citizens originally, basically as a rail transit system. The bus thing was never brought to about. In fact, I think 2 years after we voted it in originally, we were petitioned to have another election because people got so upset over all these empty buses running around town that they were paying for that they didn't think was right. Now, people did vote to continue to stay in it, and so it's been here since. But I know it is a very frustrating and we were not told about the representation, how it was going to be distributed between the cities, how much control Dallas was going to have over Dart, which we ended up just being like the tail of the dog with the whole thing. So I think it's been a different thing, and I think there's a lot of better solutions out there today than the way transit is being done. Mass transit is not efficient by today's standards. But, you know, we pay something like, every citizen in the city's tax burden for DART sales tax is like $640 a year. Now, all that tax is not by our citizens. We have people buying things, sales taxes, not citizens, but it's still a very big portion of what we spend. And my point, I think to be able to get, and I applaud you for letting people vote on it. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, that's their decision. And I think, but what we need to do is, I would like to see us really have what the alternatives that we think we can do before we go vote to take it out or keep it. And you know, how much tax burden, because I know we're going to have a large tax burden for the debt we have already incurred. So I think we have to, people know that, how much of that we'll be able to put into some other type of transportation for our citizens. So I think to make a fair vote on the election in May, we need to know what the alternatives are going to be and how much they're going to cost us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and you know, staff is trying to finish up getting information and cost proposals from other services. They should have that in short order, and then they can put the information that you have just said and that Barbara has requested also. That'll be made public, just so folks know. They got to be able to make informed decision. So, yes, sir.
Hi everyone. So my name is Saivamsi Chendupati. So I stay in Vranet Mercer Crossing, Farmers Branch. So thanks all for the good work that is going on in the city. So this is my first meeting. So I have been on a purpose for here, but looking at the people here and the meeting that is going on, so I was thrilled to have at this meeting, thrilled to be at this meeting. So I came with my friend for a purpose. So my question is, I think everyone in the city knows answer for this apart from me. So is there any way that we can opt for the newsletter to come to our email, to our mail? Because we haven't seen any newsletter delivered to our unit. So is there any option to opt for the newsletter?
So you're requesting a newsletter to come directly to you?
Yeah.
Okay. The city, almost everything that we do is on the city website, for one. We do communicate in the water bill. Do you get a water bill? Okay. But it can't be as detailed as a lot of other communication. And then, of course, we have several of the council members send out their own newsletter to residents also. And we do have information on social media. So I don't know if we're missing, we don't have we're not sending a newsletter to every household necessarily in a hard copy.
This is the perfect moment to encourage you and all of our residents to sign up for our e-newsletter. There's a QR code, and it may or may not be out there, and we get weekly detailed information, and you'll really like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we do have a number of ways that folks can sign up to get information from the city, and that stuff goes out once, twice a week.
Perfect. That saves a lot of paper as well. So,
okay, yeah. Thank you.
Kelly McLaughlin, Farmers Branch resident. Could you help me understand the finances of the DART thing again? Because you said it was going to be $180 million for debt service. It would take approximately 7 years to pay off? Roughly?
Roughly.
Okay, so let's say we step out of DART for those 7 years. What do we get for the $180 million? Nothing, right?
You will not get service from DART.
Okay.
The city will be
Let's say we
subsidizing
stay
with
in.
another provider.
Let's say we stay in. What do we get? Do we get that same note paid off in the same 7 years?
No.
Pardon?
No. Then you're just, if we stay in, then our money is going towards operational costs of DART.
And so how
And
long?
there may be some amount that's credited towards debt service, because DART is
So
responsible.
most of it would go for the operational portion, and so our debt service would take a whole long time to.
Correct.
Okay. Have we done anything to try to do some marketing to get ridership up?
Absolutely. And I think DART has too over the many years, but
It's just not happening
not
because this is a car state?
people like their horse and buggy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Come on, Pat.
Not a DART question. I was delighted to see, I'm sorry, Pat Trapp, Mercer Crossing. I was delighted to see that there is construction starting on the West Side Trail. There's a big blinking sign on Valley View, just north of LBJ. And I'd love to share some information about the project with local bike clubs, but the city project dashboard is silent on this project. And I sent a note to Public Works and I got no answer. So I was wondering if we could find out some information about what's it going to look like, what's going to happen during construction, when's it going to be done, and that kind of thing.
Ben, you taking
Thank you.
note? Okay. It'll get addressed.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to invite everybody to stay, go out in the lobby and take a look at the various boards that we have out there. Staff will be out there if you want to ask more detailed questions or have some one-on-one time with any of our staff, department heads and whatnot. They'll be available to possibly answer some of your questions and help you. You know, as you explore what lies ahead, take some time, have some refreshment. There's cookies and whatnot out there. We appreciate it. The council will be out there to visit with you. But just know, you know, there's so many great things that are happening at Farmers Branch. We really live in a special city, and we will get through all of these issues together through collaboration, shared purpose, commitment, and calm dialogue. That's the biggest thing, calm dialogue. And so we're all here to make our city better and stronger. As I said at the beginning, the future for Farmers Branch couldn't be brighter. There is a lot going on here. And I just appreciate you all taking the time this evening to come out and learn a little bit about it. And I want to thank you. So enjoy the rest of your evening, eat up out there, and we'll be here to answer questions.